Good morning. It's some day of the week minute with Janice Spickett, depending on how my life is going. I love Anita in Ohio because she's always going, "Where's the Monday minute? Is it Tuesday munchies now?" And I'm going, "I don't know what it is. It is. It is." So I want to have a confrontational conversation with you about forgiveness because I was part of a conversation and I've been reading this book in case I haven't mentioned it, The Naked Gospel, Blow Your Mind by Andrew Farley. Highly recommend you get it. And you can do that through our website. And we get a little Amazon kickback when you order it through our site, womengettingreal.com. But I want to talk to you about forgiveness because sometimes we have this notion that forgiveness is about keeping score, letting somebody off the hook, agreeing with what they're doing, a promise that they'll never do it again. Lots of notions about forgiveness. And I want to come back to a definition that is in the Bible, but it's in the Old Testament, New Testament, but it's also was really spotlighted in this book, The Naked Gospel, that forgiveness is actually a blood payment. The way of forgiveness, according to God's world system, is that it is the shedding of blood. And so when we ask someone for forgiveness, we're asking to make things right by a blood payment. And when I got that picture, I noticed how glibly I was treating forgiveness because I wanted forgiveness to be a bartering chip. I'll forgive you as long as you promise you'll never do it again. Or I'll forgive you this time. Or I've already forgiven you for that. Why do I have to forgive you about that again? And we have all these Bible stories about 70 times 7 and, if you don't forgive, then God won't forgive you. And we have these distortions, but I think what's snapped in my spirit since I've read this book is about what forgiveness is actually been made available because Jesus made 100% blood payment for all the sins of the world. 100% of my sins are paid for. 100% of your sins are paid for. Not just the ones last year or 10 years ago, but the ones that you will make today and tomorrow and the rest of your life. They're paid for because his blood payment was sufficient. We don't have to have a priest to go into the Holy of Holies once a year and atone and try to make God pacified for a year. They've been paid for. That's why we no longer make sacrifices because Jesus' offering, his blood sacrifice, his offering that he presented was enough once and for all. So once you get that about your right standing now with God, that God's not talking about your sin because he's paid for your sin. It also means he's paid for the sin of the other people in your life. Okay, now let's put you two human beings together. We talk about forgiveness back and forth, but what we're actually saying is God's offering, his blood payment through Christ, sufficient for the grievance that is between the two of us? See, we try to draw something from each other by forgiveness to make each other make it right, but we can't make it right. I don't give my husband a blood payment when I sin against him, and although I try to get something from him in the past to him make things right with me, I can't I can't draw blood out of him to actually wash away the sin. But what I can do now that I'm beginning to put this puzzle piece together is because of the blood of Christ, I can call it what God calls it. And God calls it 100% paid for. That's what forgiveness is. Your understanding and acknowledgement that Jesus himself has paid for your sin, his sin, her sin, their sin. It's paid for. So now what's left is, instead of us thinking that we have some power over someone or we're tormented, it's us getting a greater picture of, God, what have you actually done? You've already freed me and I didn't even know I was in bondage. You're able then to deal with what actually is the issue. And the issue is your emotions. Forgiveness is a thing that has been completed by Christ. Your emotional reactions to the very real offense is something that's different from forgiveness. And your boundaries so as to continue in relationship in a healthy way is also a different conversation. 3 different things. They're not the same thing, and you don't really morph them together. I'll forgive you if you promise that your behavior will never hurt me again. That's not a good boundary. I can't forgive you because my feelings are hurt. Okay, that's also not related. because you can forgive someone, call what God calls that offense paid for, and still have to walk through with this other person the feelings and the emotions that you're having. That's okay. That's healthy. And then boundaries is a way for you to learn how to protect yourself, to love well, to walk in a broken world system and still shine the light of Christ. Even though you feel at risk and vulnerable, you come to all these things, forgiveness, your emotions, and your boundaries. The number one answer to all of them is more of Christ. You are safe. You have to learn how to walk in healthy health and safety with someone else. Your emotions are fine. They're great indicators. And we see that when we're offended and hurt by people, instead of going, you should help me, we go back to the Lord and go, ooh, what is that? What did I get so worked up about? Where am I trying to get my needs met by someone else instead of just from you? How are you trying to teach me? What kind of wound is in there that you just flushed out because I'm in a relationship with someone else? But the main thing today I want you to get is forgiveness is, the one mantra that keeps running through my head now when someone offends is this thought. It's in the Bible. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. It's like, I don't make a decision. Let me see if I like you. Let me see if you're behaving well enough. Let me see if I think you're worthy of my forgiveness. Do I want God treating me like that? I forgive because God forgave. I forgive as the Lord forgave me. And He went, I love you so much, I'm going to pay for it myself. And so when people offend us, and they will, when they hurt us on purpose and by accident, and they will, we claim the blood of Christ. Lord, through the blood of Christ, I forgive. You forgave me, I forgave them. Your blood was sufficient for me, your blood is sufficient for them. Now help me deal with the hurt and the emotion. Help me learn how to be healthy and to figure out healthy boundaries. But Lord, I do not want blood payment from them. You've done more than enough. May the Lord take that and just mess you up a little bit. Go back to Him and ask Him about that. And I just want to bless you that there's freedom in forgiveness because it's 100% paid for. Bless you guys.